Welcome to the notch tutorial of the Flanker aircraft for DCS. Um, First few things I want to say about before we get into how to do it. More than any other aircraft I've flown in DCS, this is a huge visual thing for the notch. So the biggest tip I can give you is grab an aircraft like a Viper, Hornet, 15 Charlie, and just really practice the notch, and where you can pretty much do it without having to look at the RWR. Like you could just dive right into it. It ends perfectly up on the 3.9 line, and you get the muscle memory down. That's the biggest tip I can give you to do it right with the flanker is practice with aircraft that are easier to where you get a feel to know whether or not you're really close. Second thing is it's not good at notching if you're really low off the deck and the bandit's really high. The missile comes from such a loft angle, the RWR receiver on this aircraft won't even tell you there's a missile in the air, and you think that the guy's holding his shot, and then you just die. So if a bandit's really high, you need to climb a little bit and face him relatively head on or offset him there. But if you're super low to the ground and you offset him or coming straight at him, and you visually don't see the missile, you will not get an RWR notification. You will die. So generally the rule is, how high do you get? Well, however high it takes you to do a split S into the notch and dive to the ground. It's personal preference, but it takes some practice. All right. After that being said, let's just talk about one of the tools we can use. So the RWR shit, it tells us within like pretty much 30 degrees of the notch. If the missile trails behind us, we won't know. So we kind of got to be aware of how inaccurate this is. It gets us close, but not close enough. Now, you can kind of tell whether or not you're defeating the missile, or you can start to turn in the second that the radar signal strength here starts to recede. So that's a big thing about the flanker is a lot of times if you're notching shots, you're just really burning the missile out of energy. And the second that I see that it's not gaining and it starts to recede, I'm climbing just a little bit just in case the missile is close. It won't have the energy to follow me up, and I'll re-engage. So that's like the nicest thing about the RWR in this aircraft is you kind of know when you defeated the missile if it reacquires you or follows you. All right, the number one tool to getting close, other than just practice and muscle memory, is the data link. Now, there's a skin for the data link that you can download. It's the high definition data link. It's on the DCS website, and this is the number one tool to help you. However, you need to know which bandit shot at you, and he has to be on your display for this to work. So the idea here that you're going to see is that I'm going to put the bandit pretty much on the 9 line here, and that gets me really close to the missile because the missile's going to take a lead, and then I'm going to get as low as possible to the deck. Now, you always want to get really low to the deck when you notch with any aircraft. However, the flanker's so big and it's so inaccurate on your tools or your sensors that you really have to just fly at the seat of your pants and more than any other aircraft and get as low as possible to defeat the missile. So it's really crucial. Now, if I'm flying low all the time, I'm going to trim the aircraft to where I don't have to continually fly the aircraft with a lot of stick to fly low. In this tutorial, I'm just not going to have the time to sit here and mess with it, so it's all going to be completely just by feel. Let's go over some key bindings that are just going to help you survive and make your life a little bit easier for this. First and foremost, you're probably going to get too fast to pull quickly, and so you're going to want to use a stick deflection limiter override. Now you may say, well, that might break my wings. Well, if the missile's close and it's shot at you, and you can't pull into the notch, you're dead anyway, so you might as well use it to try to do something to defeat the missile. So stick deflection limiter override, have it bound, launch permission override. You need to have it because you're going to be offsetting a lot of times on the bandit, and the 30-degree cone in front of the aircraft is not enough sometimes. So you need to just really focus on putting them on the edge of your radar gimbal limit majority of the time, pitch, shoot, and then dive right into the notch. And that way you don't have to go far into the notch and you have more time to kind of finalize the visual to do it. You're going to need your MFD range bound because we're going to want to zoom in on the data link so we can see the bandit easier as he approaches. Right here. And then last but not least, going against my #1 rule about running chaff, I run chaff in the flanker. Other aircraft where it's easy to notch, run all flares and you'll be fine if you get good at notching. However, in the flanker, you need to run chaff, and it's just a layer of protection. So you're stacking the notch, you're stacking maybe terrain, your position, your energy, and now chaff to defeat the missile. And this is just an extra layer. It doesn't work very well. If you want chaff to work better, just install a macro or a program like Joy2Key, where it can spam out. You hold down the button and it spams out 12 to 14 chaff a second. Then it'll help a little bit. I'm not running it, so I just manually press it. However, it does make a difference if you do it. All right, so let's get into it. Let's turn on the radar. Let's get the first guy locked up here. So as he approaches closer into range here, launch authority, I'm going to zoom in more and more so I can do it. And what's going to happen here is he'll shoot first. I'll give it a little time before I defend so we can see if I actually notch the missile. But I'm going to put him roughly on the 9 line as I turn, and he's going to disappear before I get there almost every time. So I need to keep an eye about where he is as where he was as I'm turning to get close. And we don't want to be too fast because it's going to take too long. 1,000 kilometers an hour seems to be right where I want to be. Anything more than that, and it starts to get just a little too wide, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm cutting the throttle back a little bit. So within max range here. Computer off. He changes. I can see the missile, and he changed his direction, so I know that he shot. All right, now I'm looking at the data link as I turn. And I'm using the visual that I've learned from other aircraft. And kick the rudder a little bit. Dropping chaff. Try to defeat this missile into the ground. Alright, I defeated it. Don't know if I notched it or not, but... So, I gotta climb a little bit here because he's high, or else I won't see the missile, so... A little fast. He launched. Box 3, same thing. I'm gonna use the data link here. Put it on the 9 line. Roll out into the notch. Drop chaff. And we're holding it. I'm gonna dip down once I get... Okay, missile's behind me now. So I should be able to turn up, burn its energy. Same thing. Zoom in on the MFD. Put them on the edge of the radar gimbal limit here. A little fast, but we'll manage. I'm looking for the smoke from the missile because I can't visually see him. Fox, he probably shot. Dropping chaff.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
Dropping chaff as I'm running.
Pull up. Pull up.
Cut the throttle here so I can turn
Pull up.
better. Re-engage the
Pull up.
throttle, and now I'm looking at the
Pull up.
RWR.
Pull up.
And
Pull up. Pull up.
we notched
Pull
the missile
up.
into the ground right there. So, and I think I'll only put 3 bandits, so we can look at the TAC view if you want. I can put the TAC view in the description of the video. However, that's how you do it. The closer you get, the more finesse you're going to need to notch the missiles. So I think I notched 2 out of the 3. I think one of them I just defeated it energy-wise. But it's pretty much combining everything. The flanker can be really hard to notch if you don't know where the missile's coming from. You pretty much have to go by the RWR, and your best bet is to try to move up and down and kill the missile into the ground while it's chasing you, because it wants to take lead. So I'll demonstrate that. Let's just say I'm notching an invisible missile and my RWR is showing 9 line. What you want to do is get close to the ground and just move up and down a little bit and do that. Now if the missile is not above you and it's level, I crashed, because the flanker fast is pretty slow on reaction. But if it's the same level as you, that will get you killed. So, but if you know it's coming from above slightly, you can energy kill it by doing that. Anyways, I hope the video was helpful. I'll make another video on the no escape later for the flanker once I figure out a few of the visual cues to help with the HUD symbology and the RWR. Anyways, talk to you later.